What's going on, guys? JB Lion back with another video, and today we are doing a video on the Chelsea versus Arsenal game that just happened. Before we get into this video, if you're new around here, please do hit the sub button. If you enjoy these videos, please do hit the like button. If you want to know when I upload, then please do hit the bell icon. But let's get straight into this, and where do I even start? What a game it was, firstly. Chelsea did unfortunately lose 2-1 to Arsenal, but that isn't half the story of what actually happened in this game. So yeah, let's get straight into this. So we came out of the blocks looking good. Arsenal came out of the blocks looking good. It was a pretty cagey affair. You know, we was pretty much testing each other. It was 50-50s. And yeah, we looked like we was like well up for it. And then obviously Arsenal got a corner, and as they do, they did score from the corner, as usual. Whipped in at the back post, Gabriel cross to Saliba. Unfortunately, Sarr did get there, but it kind of bounced off and went in past Sanchez. That made it 1-0 to Arsenal. And then we had two, not just one, but two penalty shouts. I'll post the pictures right here whilst I talk about them. One was a corner got whipped in, and Declan Rice jumped up for the ball and his arm was here, hit his arm and that. And I get, that's a 50-50. That might not potentially be a penalty, but it's definitely a shout for a penalty. I've seen him give them in other games, and I've certainly seen him giving him other matches. And then the second one was, for me, the most clearest penalty. You know, Saliba literally wrapped his arms around João Pedro. João Pedro got to the ball first, and David Raya just fucking cleaned him in the face. Just laid him out. How is that fair? How have we not been given a penalty for one or two of these incidences? I'm not saying that the Rice one, I feel like that Rice one is a 50-50. It definitely is. You could see it be given, but it would be soft. But the João Pedro one is 100% stonewall penalty. In any other game that is given, it is the fact that Saliba is literally hugging him and then gets punched in the face and nothing is done about it. That is absolutely mental to me, that none of these chances here have been given as a penalty. It is absolutely mental, and I do genuinely feel like we have been robbed today. And I know Arsenal fans will be like, oh no, well, you know, nah man, we were robbed. We should have at least had one of these given as a penalty. But moving on from them, because I'm just going to get wound up by them, we did score our goal. Reece James with an absolute beautiful whipping, and it just flew all the way in. Hincapié sort of jumped up and it nicked it past all the defenders and went in. And I thought from there we looked great. We were, you know, went in half-time 1-1, thinking, this is it, man. We're looking good. We're going to push on. We come out of the second half, we're looking confident, creating chances, making it difficult for Arsenal. You know, Arsenal didn't really have much to stand on. We were just all over them. And then, obviously, Arsenal did what they always do. Got another corner and scored again. And the man who should be blamed for this is Robert Sanchez. He tried to claim that he was fouled, but he wasn't. He just... Poor goalkeeping from him. He was all over the shop. Arsenal scored. Urian Timber at the back post. And that basically just set up for the rest of the game. Completely took the wind out of our sails. And just basically, that's what decided the game. That right there, obviously, is what decided it. We lost all wind in our sails. And then just to make it worse, for our 10th red card of the season. Yeah, you heard that right. 10 red cards across the whole of this season. And 10 different players. Pedro Neto got sent off for a second yellow card. There was no need to do what he did. He should not have absolutely scissored him. And he can argue his point all day long, but he should not have done that, which then obviously completely took the sting out. We did have a chance later on where João Pedro sort of overhead kicked it. Raya kind of flapped it in, Delap tapped it in, but it was offside. And yeah, it just was an absolute abhorrent game. We should have, I feel like, so annoyed because we could have done so much better. We had so much chances and we just let ourselves down as usual. We just got a red card. you know, conceded corners because we know how good Arsenal are at them, and we just let ourselves down. We should have beaten them or at least got a draw with Arsenal, but instead we let ourselves down and we wasn't able to do it as usual, and it was just a very, very poor effort from the boys. Like I said, we could have done so much better, but we just didn't. We were just not strong enough. You know, in the second, like I said, in the second half, we looked great. You know, fair play to Sarr for his first game. Like I said, he would start, and he did start, and he played really well. But it was just that second half we looked great, and we needed to take our chances when we had them, and we just didn't. Arsenal took theirs from the corner, and then from there on in, it was kind of control Arsenal, and then the red card just kind of sealed it for us, sealed our defeat, made what was already not really inevitable, but made what was already gonna happen. And yeah, it was just very, very poor from us, very poor from Pedro Neto. And like I said, something needs to be done about these red cards, because like I said, that is now 10 red cards across the whole of the season, and a red card that really, really didn't need to be given to Pedro Neto. He could have held off, but instead he did the, the scissor action on Martinelli, and it was just over. From there on in, it was over. But fair play to Arsenal. You know, I've always said this, and I always will say it, and I know Arsenal fans, when the comments will start to come through, but the football they play is disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Other than, you know, they do have some games where they play some really nice football, like against Spurs, they played some good football. But, you know, corner FC, and there's no stronger saying than that. I think I saw a stat, 17 corners scored is just outrageous. You know, when you look at how many goals they've scored this season, 17 of them from corners is mental. But fair play, if it works for them, and that's it, innit? I still think City are probably going to win the league. I feel like there's still a twist in the tail. We could have been part of that twist, which is a shame, because we certainly should have done. But like I said, as usual, we let ourselves down. But yeah, let's get into the part of the video where we talk about our best and bad players. I've mentioned firstly the bad player. I mentioned him already, and that's Robert Sanchez. I think he had an absolutely awful game today. He had the ball multiple times at his feet and he just couldn't clear it. He almost gave away a goal, and I'm glad Chalobah turned around and shouted at him. It is just absolutely awful from Robert Sanchez, and obviously the goal that we conceded to make us lose the game wasn't primarily his fault, but he could have done such better goalkeeping, and he just didn't. He was all over the shop, didn't know where to place himself, and yeah, I think he was definitely the worst player of the game. He looked nervous. Every time he got the ball, he looked like he just didn't know what to do with it, and yeah, he was just bad. And I always say this before a Chelsea game, when I talk to any of my friends about football or Chelsea, I always say it all depends on what game Robert Sanchez has, because we know what he can be like when he's absolutely on form, but today he certainly wasn't, and he was definitely our worst player on the pitch today. And you know, I'm not saying it's all down to him, it's a team performance, but a lot of his mistakes did cost us hugely. And yeah, just wasn't good enough in my opinion. My star player though for the game was obviously honourable mention to João Pedro, because I think he worked very well up top, very hard, but it's probably got to be Reece James. He was so good in that right back position today. Every time he got the ball on the wing, he put in crosses that were just causing danger constantly. He obviously basically set up the goal for us, and I just think he was our best player. He was all over the pitch today. That right back position where he drops in midfield, it works perfectly. And like I said, captain fantastic as always. He's only just come back from injury, but I always stay by the fact that I think he's the best right back in the Premier League and England's best right back. And I just think when he's fully fit, he's just, you know, him and Declan Rice at the World Cup doing those deliveries is going to be absolutely insane for us. But yes, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And like I always say, if you're new around here, hit the sub button. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to know when I upload, hit the bell icon. I've been JB Lion. Thank you for everyone watching, all the dudes and dudettes and everyone else in the next video. Peace, guys. Woo! Up the Chelsea.